So in this video, we see what is an proactive HA. Like we already aware about the reactive HA, whereas it will restart all the VMs during an hardware failure. In this video, we'll see what is proactive HA and how to configure an proactive HA for a particular vendor. This proactive HA feature is introduced in 6.5 release. So if you are using vSphere 6.5, if you go to that vSphere availability option, you can find one more additional option under turn on vSphere HA, that is proactive HA. So what this proactive HA will do is, during an hardware degradation, it will migrate the VMs using DRS to other ESX server. Whereas in HA, it will restart the VMs, so there could be some downtime. But in proactive HA, if it finds any hardware degradation, it will move all the VMs to other ESX servers without any downtime, and that will be functioned using DRS. So here HA will be coordinating with DRS, and it will migrate all the VMs for an hardware degradation. So to make that proactive HA work, we need the participation from that OEM hardware vendors. Whereas there is a special a plugin available to integrate that hardware monitoring with the vCenter. So currently Dell OpenManage, HP Insight Manager, and the Cisco UCS Manager is having this facility, and I think currently Lenovo and other vendors also created plugins to integrate with vCenter. So this will help to take an proactive action during an hardware degradation. See, in HA cluster in vSphere 6.5 is proactive with the help of the web client plugin provided by the OEM vendors. So OEM vendors like Cisco, Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Nutanix are providing the plugins currently. So the plugin will monitor network, power, memory, local storage, and fan of the service. So these failures can be divided into two categories, like one is moderate, another one is severe. So this moderate and severe is the category is given by the vendors and not by VMware. So let's see an vCenter monitor integration for Cisco uses as an example for proactive HA. So to install that Cisco UCS Manager plugin, we need to download that plugin from cisco.com. Whereas we will be finding two files. One is the Cisco UCS Manager plugin, and another one is the latest registration tool zip file. We can download this file and we can store it in our local download folder. The files can be downloaded from cisco.com, and the latest versions is given, like the latest version is 3.0.3. Based on the vCenter version we are using, we can download the release version which is required for us. So if you select that latest release of 3.0.3, it will be downloaded as a zip file which contains 17.11 MB. So this can be used for that VCSA version 6.7 or later version. We can use this 3.0.3. So as I told earlier, we need to download this release based on the vCenter version we are using in our environment. So first step is we need to download that zip file and plugin from the cisco.com, and then the second step would be we need to unzip that registration tool, and we need to launch that Cisco UCS plugin registration tool. So when you launch that Cisco UCS plugin registration tool, you will get a screen like this, whereas you need to provide the vCenter IP or host name, then the username password of vCenter, that is the username of the vCenter, and then you need to provide a password for that vCenter server, and then you need to provide the location of that particular zip file. So the plugin location, it should be hosted in a local web server, whereas it can be HTTP web server or it can be an HTTPS web server. So you need to put that zip file in that. So after putting that file, you need to provide the location in plugin location, whereas HTTPS colon slash slash 172.22.250.159 files, and the UCS VC plugin HTML zip file location. So that needs to be provided. So this window can be used for register plugin as well as to unregister the plugin from vCenter server. So once you provided all the informations, click submit on that Cisco UCS plugins registration tool. Once you click submit, you will get a message like Cisco UCS plugin registered successfully. So in this case, if you are not using HTTPS URL for that Cisco UCS plugin, then you need to do some configuration changes at the vCenter level. Whereas you need to go and edit the web client properties file inside the vCenter Windows or vCenter appliance. Whereas I have given the location of that vCenter dot web client dot properties file location. So it will be inside program data VMware vCenter CFG, then vSphere-UI, and inside that you will find that web client dot properties file. In 6.x in vCenter appliance, you can find it inside etc VMware vSphere client. Inside that we will find that web client dot properties file. So in our case, if you are using HTTP web server for providing that Cisco UCS plugin file, then we need to do one configuration change inside that vCenter server. Whereas if you are using HTML5, you need to go to the directory vSphere UI, and if you are using the Flash, the legacy one prior to vCenter 6.7, we need to use vSphere -client directory, and inside that we need to edit that file called webclient.properties. So now if you are using HTML5, then what you have to do is go to the directory cd vSphere-ui. Inside that open the file using VI editor, that is VI webclient.properties, and then you need to locate the line allow HTTP equal to. So once you locate the line allow HTTP equal to, whereas you need to add the value true, and then you need to save that particular webclient.properties file, and then you need to exit. So once you've done this, you need to restart the services on that particular vCenter server to make it effective. Now restart that HTML client service. So to do that, you need to execute the command service control hyphen stop vSphere -ui, and then you need to start the service like service control start vSphere -ui. So once you execute that command, the service will get stopped and started. So once that service is restarted, you can find that Cisco UCS monitoring icon in the shortcuts. Whereas in this vSphere client web page, you can find there is a Cisco UCS monitoring icon which is appeared here. So this is for HTTP. So if you are using HTTPS, there is no need to execute that previous command of editing that web client.properties file. That is not required at all. So in exceptional case, if you are using HTTP, then we need to edit that file, or else it's not required. So in the shortcuts, click that Cisco UCS monitoring icon, whereas you will be getting an window like Cisco UCS Management Center, whereas you need to add that UCS domain. Provide that UCS domain IP and then the credentials, and then click OK to add that particular Cisco UCS domain. Once it's added, it will be whatever blades or rack servers which is inside that UCS domain, that will be get monitored and alerts will get triggered on the vCenter. So after adding that Cisco UCS domain, we can find the number of chassis which is 2, and rack mounts is 0, and fabric interconnects is 4. Whereas you can monitor the UCS domain servers and VMs within which is running in that particular Cisco UCS hardware from the vCenter itself. We can also verify the same in failures and responses tab, whereas in the providers now you can find there is a Cisco UCS provided added and status is enabled, and below that you can find the failure conditions which will be monitored. So in the failure condition we can block whichever is not required for monitoring. That can be done. So it based on the requirement we can take a decision on those failure conditions which needs to be blocked. So in the last step we have added that proactive HA provider. Now we need to enable the proactive HA to monitor the alerts which is coming inside that HA proactive provider. The HA proactive provider which we configured here is Cisco. So to monitor that, so we are going to enable proactive HA at the cluster level. So to enable that we need to log into that vCenter server. Then we need to select the cluster configuration tab and then go to vSphere availability and then select the edit button to turn on the feature. So to enable it, click on the checkbox to enable it. Like see, we have two checkboxes available. One is for turn on vSphere HA and the next one is for turn on proactive HA. So there is a small information given there, whereas enable this feature to allow proactive migration of VMs from host on which a provider has notified a health degradation. If a provider notifies a health degradation, then that host VMs will be migrated to other ESX server using DRS. So once you enable that, we need to go to that proactive HA failure and responses tab, whereas you can find two options. One is automation level, which will work at the cluster level, and remediation level, which will work at that host level. So we can select the automation level. So automation level is a recommended option, because if we select manual option, it will give the recommendation and we need to manually migrate the VMs to other ESX servers. So if we select automated, we can use this feature effectively. So that's the reason we need to select automated automation level. We need to select as automated. Once automated is selected, that is this automated level works at the cluster level. So next is remediation. The remediation works at the host level. For an individual affected host, this remediation response will react. So we can see the remediation response one by one. So we have three remediation response for host. One is quarantine mode for all failures. Second one is quarantine mode for moderate and maintenance mode for severe failure, that is mixed. Then next one is maintenance mode for all failures. So first we'll see the quarantine mode for all failures. So what it will do is, if you enable this quarantine mode for all failures, if it gets an alert, that is monitoring alert for moderate degradation of hardware failure or severe degradation, it will take that ESXi host into quarantine mode and it will migrate all the VMs running in that ESX server to the other ESX servers, that is the healthy ESX server. So one thing we need to understand in this quarantine mode is, suppose if the cluster is running out of resource, then it won't completely move all the VMs to the other ESX servers. Instead, it will move some VMs and to overcome the resource crunch, it will keep rest of the VMs inside that quarantine mode ESX server. So in that case, we cannot create any new VMs, but whatever VMs which is running in that particular cluster, that can use this quarantine mode ESX servers. So if we have enough resource, all the VMs will be moved to other ESX servers. If you are not having enough resource in the cluster, then this quarantine mode will keep some of the VMs in the affected ESX server. So that point we need to keep in mind. So next is like quarantine mode for moderate and maintenance mode for severe failure. Whereas here for moderate degradation, it will take the host into quarantine mode, and for severe degradation, it will take the host into maintenance mode. So it will bring two actions in this mixed mode, whereas it will take the ESXi into quarantine mode, as well as it will take the ESXi host into maintenance mode based on the alerts which got triggered. If it is moderate, it will take the host into quarantine mode, and if it is severe degradation, then it will take the host into maintenance mode. So the recommended option would be like the quarantine mode for moderate and maintenance mode for severe failures, that is mixed, will be recommended here. However, based on the requirement, you can choose the best option which is required for your environment. The third one is maintenance mode for all failures. So here what will happen is whatever be the failure, it will be a moderate degradation or severe degradation, it will automatically take the host into maintenance mode, whereas all the VMs will be moved to the other host, and then the host will be in maintenance mode and it will be out of the cluster. So if there is a resource crunch, the other ESX servers can't use this maintenance mode ESX server. So till we rectify that issue and we manually bring that server out of maintenance mode, so it will be in maintenance mode. So normally in quarantine mode, what happens is if the host is taken into quarantine mode, it will be automatically come to normal mode. But in maintenance mode, if it is taken into maintenance mode due to some hardware failures, we need to manually unlock that host from maintenance mode to normal. See, you can find some proactive HA events here, whereas for power supply there is an severely degraded event got triggered, and for power supply redundancy, so if there is some only one power supply which got affected, that will be moderately degraded. So see, severity and moderate. So based on this level, that proactive HA will take a decision and it will move the VMs to other ESX servers. I hope you understand the proactive HA with this video. If you have any queries or doubts, just post comments in this video.